This video is going to go over the argument breakdown worksheet, which is one of the activities in Unit 3 of English 101. In order to access the worksheet, you can click this button and download a Word copy of the template, and then you'll go ahead and complete it from here. What we're asking you to do in this assignment is use Reading 2. Which is R2, the article that your instructor has given you. This semester it happens to be the Pandemic's Remote Learning Legacy. If it's a different semester and there's a different Reading 2, go ahead and use whatever your instructor has assigned you as R2 or Reading 2. Include the article title and the author. And then you're going to begin digging into the article itself and trying to break down what was the initial author's argument. So you need to identify what is a claim that the author is making. Technically, kind of what is the overall claim? What is their overall argument that they're trying to persuade you of? Sometimes the claim is apparent from the title of the article. Sometimes it's at the beginning in the introduction, but sometimes you have to read the whole article in order to determine what is the overall claim. In the Pandemic's Remote Learning Legacy, for example, it is stated at the beginning that about 10% of parents want kids to stay online, but that is not the overall claim that the author is making. That's just a background statement. So you have to look at the whole article as a whole in order to determine what is the overall claim or main idea. Then we're asking you to determine tone. There is a list of tone words in your course, in the D2L course. If you navigate to content, maybe Unit 1 learning materials, tone as a reader, you'll see there's an entire page of positive tone words, negative tone words, etc. So you can absolutely try to identify some of the tones that the author uses in the article. Also, who do you think the audience is? Who is this author writing for? Who do they want to read this? Who are they trying to convince? Then once you've identified the overall claim and how the argument is being presented, it's important to try and identify some of the evidence that the author is using to support that claim. Some reasons, for example. So what you're going to do is identify here what is one reason or piece of support that the author uses to support their overall main statement. You can include a direct quote from the article here if you want to, but you have to use citations if you do that. Then it's asking you to identify what type of evidence has been used. So we talked about this in Unit 2, or the beginning of Unit 3, sorry. We talked about facts, statistics, personal experience like testimonials, expert opinions, research studies, etc. So again, if we go back into the course, just to make sure you know how to find that content, if you go to Table of Contents, under Unit 3, under Learning Materials, you should find information about evidence and how to evaluate it. So here we have the different types of evidence you can read about if you're not sure how to answer this question. So we'll go back to the sheet. What we're asking for on this template is for you to identify 2 pieces of evidence and then identify what kind of evidence they are. You do not have to identify any more than that, even though the author may have more than 2 pieces of evidence. And then finally, we're asking you to identify a counter-argument that's been presented for this particular argument. So what do you think would be an opponent's position? What do you think people would argue against? And then, does the author address the counter-argument in any way? Does she or he refute the counter-argument? Do they provide reasons or evidence against it? And so that's the question that you're going to be asking in this last section. So counter-argument is also presented in the course back in Unit 2, Learning Materials. I thought there was a section on counter-argument here. My apologies, I did find the counter-argument webpage. It's actually in Unit 3, Learning Materials. Right where we were for the evidence and how to evaluate it, it was right after that, counter-argument. So my apologies for not having that located sooner. So that's where you'll find the information that you need in order to complete the counter-argument part. The idea behind this essay is to make sure that you understand the overall argument, evidence, and claims before you begin your response writing, which is the rest of Unit 3. Please let me know if you have any questions.